Hi everyone, my name is Eugene and today I decided to make a rather interesting selection of stocks. There are a couple of interesting assets in the Chinese market with simply huge dividends yields. The Chinese economy is emerging from lockdowns and restrictions, which will lead to an increase in consumption and business activity. In addition, even according to the world forecast, China's GDP should grow by at least 4% in 2023. So at the moment when stagnation moods are reigning in the world, we can turn our attention to the Chinese market. Well, meet the list of Chinese dividend stocks. Well, I wish everyone a pleasant viewing and we begin. The first company will be CK Hutchison Holdings. CK Hutchison Holdings is one of China's largest diversified conglomerates. This company is an incredibly huge conglomerate that covers a large number of sectors of the economy and business, a kind of Chinese Berkshire Hathaway. The main areas of interest are port management and logistics, retail trade, transport and engineering infrastructure, energy, utilities, telecommunication, financial services and biotechnology. With a current share price of 49 Hong Kong dollars, the dividend yield for 2022 was 5.5% per annum. The company regularly pays dividends and in absolute terms, dividends have fluctuated over the past few years in the range of 2.5 and 3 Hong Kong dollars per one share. Therefore, in successful years for the company, the dividend yield, even with the current regrown share price, will be about 5.4 and 6.1% per annum, which is quite a good amount for a passive income. I propose to look at the company's income depending on the field of activity, and so retail gives the company 39% of its revenue. It is chain of stores with more than 16,000 stores in 28 countries, operating primarily in the health and beauty sector, but there are also supermarkets, electronics and home appliances stores. It also takes into account the production of bottled water. Telecommunications gives the company 23% of its revenue. These are digital services and mobile communications. Next, finance, investment and other 16%. Infrastructure gives the company 13% of revenue. These are the company's shares in energy and housing and communal services projects. Sports and retail services gives the company 9% of its revenue. In the segment, the company is engaged in investment, construction and management in the field of ports. It has stakes in 52 ports in 26 countries. It also takes into account the company's activities in the river ride, port logistics and cruises. Divisions that are directly controlled by the company provide 62.5% of all revenue. The remaining 37.5% are joint ventures. If we look at the share of revenue by the regions, we will see that Europe is 51%, Hong Kong 8%, China 9%, and the rest of Asia, Australia, Panama, Mexico, and the others 15% of revenue. In general, what can be said about the structure of income of this company? First, the company's revenue is maximally diversified by industry. The company develops and seeks to increase its influence, but at the same time there is a risk due to the company's depends on the European region, which, as you know, has not been feeling very well lately. If we look at the dynamics of the company's revenue and profit, we can see that it is in a range that is business income on the one hand is more or less stable, but on the other hand growth should not be expected here. What makes me very happy in the company's reports is its balance sheet. The company's assets remain practically unchanged, while its debt obligations are actively reduced, which leads to an increase in the company's net share capital. Only from 2018 to 2021, it amounted to 13.5%, which is quite good for such a giant company. We can also note a slight but still reduction in the number of shares in the free float. In 2021, well, I purpose to finish with cost indicators. P/E ratio is 5.4, price to free cash flow is 7.5, taking into account the fact that the company is not developing much in terms of its income growth. It is priced accordingly quite inexpensively. The company can be safely bought even at current levels up to $50 per share. This stock is a good dividend asset for my opinion. The second share will be China Hongqiao Group, the world's largest aluminum producer. The company has a diversified product portfolio and covers the entire production chain, including extraction and manufacturing of aluminum and even electricity for their factories. Here we must immediately warn that since this is a raw material company, it will be cyclical and strongly tied to the production load of Chinese and world capacities. At the moment, aluminum prices are at good price levels, although they have made a rather serious drop from their peak values, so the income of this company and consequently dividends will depend quite heavily on aluminum prices. The company paid simply huge dividends for 2021 and 2022 due to the huge prices of aluminum during those periods, but it is most likely not worth expecting the same huge dividends in 2023. If the prices of aluminum remains at current prices values with a volatility of 10 or 15%, then you can expect deep yields at the current share prices of 8 Hong Kong dollars at 7 to 10% per annum. If by some miracle the company maintains payments at the level of the previous 2 years, then the dividend yield will be at the level of 12 to 13%. But of course, I would like to buy these assets at lower prices levels, since until recently it was much cheaper. I would love to see these assets prices below 7 Hong Kong dollars per share. The advantages of the company are the dynamic growth and renewal of production, the availability of resources, innovate development, and focus on the growing market of China, which account for 96% of sales. The company implements innovative projects for the development and production of light alloys and the part for the production of new types of transport for car recycling and aluminum recycling, and transfers capacities from coal-fired power generation to renewable energy source. China is the largest producer and consumer of aluminum. Out of 65 million tons produced in the world in 2020, and 37 million tons came from China. Consumption in China amounted to 68 million tons. China Hongqiao Group accounted for 5.5 million tons of aluminum products. This company produced about 10% of the world's aluminum, which is simply amazing. If we consider the company in terms of revenue and net profit, then it has a strong growth dynamics, which is a positive moment, and the net share capital of the company has the same strong and stable growth. In general, the company's financial indicators feel great. The company also has no special problems with debits. Well, the cost indicators of the business are at the good levels. Everything is in very good range. In general, a good and fundamentally strong company due to the fact that the Chinese economy is opening up and our company is just the same focus on demand from China. That is, there are hopes for good cash flows in 2023, but since it is a raw material standalone, it is still subject to cyclicality and a lot will depend on aluminum prices, so be smart about this purchase. Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, the most valuable bank in China and one of the largest banks in the world. The new economic stimulus introduced by the Chinese government has helped the economy and the bank in particular. The bank will also benefit, like most Chinese companies, from opening the economy after restrictions, which is definitely a positive thing. But the risk with developers and the real estate market in China also don't go anywhere. It is also worth mentioning that the Chinese bank often finance projects of social significance and issue loans for the purpose that the Communist Party consider necessary, so sometimes cash flow do not go to the purpose that the shareholders hoped for. The bank consistently pays large dividends in the amount of 6 or 7.5% per annum, which is a very good profitability for the banking sector. The bank's financial indicators look very good. Revenue is growing, net profit is also showing its growth, and the pace of development it is also pleasing. The same applies to the balance sheet of the company. Assets grow faster than liabilities, and as a result we see an increase in the net equity of the company. And I can say that is really good bank with huge dividends yield. And my video is over for today. Thank you all for watching, and I can say goodbye.